I don't know where you've been, but you're gonna respect this courtroom. My life has proven that it's not about where you come from, it's about where you're going. From a jailed youth who had my record expunged to becoming the youngest judge elected.
The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding.
In just 15 years. Ma'am, let me know when you want to go to rehab. Otherwise, I think you're a crackhead.
Absolutely not.
My goal is to inspire others to overcome their obstacles. You don't need him and his little raggedy roommate.
Thank you.
All while having a little fun on Mathis Court. You look like you're ready to lie right the first word out your mouth. This is Mathis Court with Judge Mathis.
Rebecca Holloway is suing Elliot Rowan in the amount of $3,750.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may all be seated.
Miss Holloway claims she enrolled her son in a Christian academy and says the teachers taught demonic rituals that were disguised as mindfulness tools.
Judge, both litigants have been sworn
Thank you. State your name.
Rebecca Holloway, Your Honor.
Sir?
Elliot Rowan.
All right, and ma'am, you're suing the defendant, Mr. Rowan, for $3,750, alleging he misrepresented the school practices.
Yes, Your
Start
Honor.
with you.
Well, I enrolled my son at Brightwell Classical Academy. He's 8 years old. And I selected this school very, very carefully. I did all of my research. I read through their curriculum. I read through their handbook. I read their mission statement. And I was led to believe by the school that they were a conservative private academy that aligned with my values as a Christian mother. So that's why I enrolled my son there. But it became clear to me as time went on that they were engaging in practices in their classroom that I would call demonic in nature, and I just could not abide that. So there were 3 incidents that happened. The first thing that happened was my son came home from school one day, and he said that he had been instructed in his classroom by his teachers to close his eyes and imagine a glowing light that was supposed to protect him from bad energy and negative influences. And that is just not something that I believe in. So that concerned me.
What don't you believe in? You don't believe there's any energy that can protect you?
Well, I would name that. I would call it God.
Right.
I would say he.
Right, it's just a different word. So he is right.
I suppose, in a way.
Yeah,
So
somebody don't use your words, but the same meaning, spiritual.
Sure, yes, Your Honor. So I let that first one go. That was the first thing that happened. But the second incident that started to really concern me was my son came home talking about this wooden symbol that they had in the classroom. He said the teachers called it a focus totem. And I have a picture of that if you'd like to see it. But it was
let me see that, please, Amir.
Sure. That is back here. This is a picture of the idol that they have in the classroom there. And the teachers are instructing the students to write down their worries and place it underneath of this wooden object.
And what would happen if they put them underneath?
Well, apparently my child was told that this totem or this object would help release his fears and focus his intentions.
By looking at it?
Well, I don't know. By looking at it or something about it.
You have to know. Your son told you. That's why you're making an issue of it. So you have to know what it was supposed to have occurred, because that's why we hear about this in particular, something you thought something was to be achieved. So what were they trying to achieve when they had your son stare at this?
As I understand it, it was supposed to help him relieve stress or protect him from his worries. He was supposed to, I think, release his worries to this.
And you don't believe this helps?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Why?
Well, because the Bible is very clear, Your Honor. I am a Christian woman. That's very important to me. And the Bible is very clear that thou shalt have no false idols. Thou shalt have no other gods.
So you don't
but
have
me.
any type of art or pictures of anything with a smile on it? Because that's all this is. This is a photograph with a smile. I don't think you asked him to pray in front of it. That's what they mean by Christianity. I'm very well versed on it too. So that's what they mean. Not little pictures pictures they want kids to look at to feel happy today. You can look at things that are happy, you're happy. That's a good idea. Well, it's what it is, but you say it's idolatry worshiping. You want, or she said, maybe she's saying this, you think this is providing this as God. You ain't tell the kids this was God, did you?
No.
Or a God.
No.
You didn't tell them to pray to it.
No.
You said something, be happy, yeah.
Your Honor, if I may, they're instructing the children to conduct a ritual with this object,
What's
with
the
this item
ritual?
that has
Maybe
a
I
face.
missed that part. What's the ritual again?
Well, the ritual is they're supposed to write down their hopes and dreams and sort of present them to this object, to this thing with a face, this wooden thing with a face. And to me, that is a demonic ritual.
Okay,
that is
if
not
they're
of God.
expecting some reaction from this, perhaps so.
Coming up on Mathis Court with Judge Mathis.
But again, this is not central to the curriculum. We do pursue this.
Then why is it being allowed in the classroom?
Because
I apologize, Your Honor, but why is this being allowed in the classroom or where my child is being taught?
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878.
This is Mathis Court with Judge Mathis.
Mathis Court is back with the case of Rebecca Holloway, who is suing Elliot Rowan for breach of contract.
What do you want to tell me about her and the school and her coming in with her son?
Well, Your Honor, the school has been in existence for just about 20 years now, and we have a wonderful reputation. We have a world-class faculty, highly credentialed and excellent at what they do, and this is from outside sources giving us such good feedback. We do not engage in devil worship or any kind of worship. We're considered to be non-sectarian. We embrace all who want to come, but we do not try to impress any kind of religious or political connection or affiliation. I trust my faculty, who again are highly credentialed and world-renowned, to educate the students. These symbols here, to me, I find them to be in some ways aligned with all the beliefs that are existent in terms of religion, if you will.
Love and happiness.
Love, happiness, calming fears, even talking to a stone that of your dreams and your wishes. To me, in my limited experience, maybe that's what I would call prayer. So it's not as if these are not just manifestations of other ways of discussing these kinds of things in a non-sectarian, non-religious, non-political environment, and also to keep it individual to each student. And by the way, these are not mandated in the curriculum. Several of these are based on the individual professor who is teaching these students in the way that they feel they should.
Well, that's exactly my problem, if I may, Your Honor. That's exactly the issue that I have, is that the reason I chose this school is because the curriculum made no mention of any kind of ritual like this, any kind of alternative spirituality, or any kind of, I would call this witchcraft in my belief.
But again, this is not central to the curriculum. We do pursue
Then why is it being allowed in the classroom?
Because
I apologize, Your Honor, but why is this being allowed in the classroom or where my child is being taught? I feel that this school misrepresented themselves to me. The reason that I paid all of that tuition to have my child at this school is because I believed, I trusted that I knew what he was going to be taught when he was enrolled there. I did not know that there was going to be all of this sort of ritualistic, these demonic rituals in the classroom. If I had known that that kind of thing would be allowed in the classroom, I would never.
What's the demon part? What's the demonic part?
This is not of God. These rituals. This is just not what I believe. What I believe, what I teach in my household to my child is that we pray to God, we name our fears and we give them to God. We don't believe in this light, these beings of light or these protective energies. All of our comfort comes from the Holy Spirit. That is what I believe.
Everything you just described is God too. Protective energies, all those things. You're just talking in
I
the
do not
code
agree
that
with that.
your
I
preacher
do not
makes
agree
you
with
talk
that.
in. But everybody doesn't talk the way your preacher wants them to talk, or the way your denomination wants us to talk. Some people do refer to it as spirituality instead of Christianity. They may be Christian, but would you ask them?
I emailed the school. I sent an email, and I have evidence of that as well. I sent an email
Saying what?
to Dr. Rowan here, saying that I was concerned about the practices that were being allowed in this classroom.
What else did they do to against your principles?
Well, Your Honor, I'm not asking that everyone
Papers
has to.
under a smiling face, demonic. What else, ma'am? Papers under smiling face is demonic.
Yes, Your Honor.
What
and
else?
There was a third.
What's the
incident.
third?
The third incident was he came home with a rock in his pocket. That was the other thing on the screen there. And he said that this was his comfort stone. He had been given this stone by a teacher and instructed to.
Now, glowing light, you immediately called the next day because you were concerned.
I called after the papers with the wooden.
Why didn't you
item with
call
the
after the
papers.
glowing light? If you thought that was devilish, you say you can take a little bit of devil, but the next day it was just too much of the devil.
Well, no,
So
Your Honor. But,
one day of the devil is enough, but two,
well, no, Your Honor. It was just that this school has such a great reputation, and so I
I
told
know,
myself.
but your son came home and told Mama, they got me doing devil worship.
Well, it
And
was-
you let him go back without calling? You didn't call and say, why you got my son worshiping the devil? Because of what you just did. It was too late. You already did it. So you should have been chastising him about what he had already done.
Well, I talked to him about it at home.
No. The staff who did it to your son.
Yes, sir. That's why I sent the
That's
email.
my point. Why? No, I'm talking about no. Immediately after you hear that your son just came home and he been devil worshiping. Mama, they had me devil worshiping. How long did you let it go on? Just wondering. How long did you let your son worship the devil?
He was enrolled at the school for 3 months. But everything seemed fine at first. That's why I let it go on for 3 months, because everything he was doing well in school.
You let him stay in there with the devil worshipers for 3 months.
Believe me, I feel.
Shame on you.
Coming up,
And the fact is, we are exceedingly transparent. And
I would not agree with that.
that's your opinion.
I would
And if-
not agree with that.
Your Honor, if I could
I'm
just-
saying, Your Honor.
You're watching Mathis Court with Judge Mathis.
closed captioning provided by Next Time on Mathis Court with Judge Mathis.
And you let it go on for a while, didn't you?
Well,
How long did you let it go on? Just wondering. How long did you let your son worship the devil?
he was enrolled at the school for 3 months. But everything seemed fine at first. That's why I let it go on for 3 months, because everything he was doing well in
let
school.
him stay in there with the devil worshipers for 3 months.
Believe me, I feel.
Shame on you.
This is Mathis Court with Judge Mathis.
Mathis Court is back with the case of Rebecca Holloway, who is suing Elliot Rowan for breach of contract.
What did they say when you told them?
Well, I called and explained my concern, and they said that this is the first they had ever had any complaint like this. They said no other parent had ever brought this up to them before. And they said that these rituals were mindfulness tools, they called them, and that the teachers were experts and I shouldn't worry. And I just could not accept that. I feel that they have crossed a spiritual line, and so I took him out of school the next day.
Okay. All right, sir. When she told you that, that was your only response? You didn't offer her to come and take her child and leave the school, or to have her child separated from these rituals as she refers to them? What did you all able to work out?
Well, if I may, Your Honor, Matthew, the young man in question, he was thriving at our school. There didn't seem to be any issues. He academically was blossoming. He was also socially becoming alive, and just he seemed to be exceedingly happy. So we saw no issues there. We don't consider what we do devil worship. And I think most of the higher educational institutions in this country and elsewhere would agree that the kinds of things that teachers at their discretion, based on their ability and their experience and their knowledge of educating young people, would employ these motifs to allow students to feel less stress, to not feel anxiety. And the fact is, we are exceedingly transparent. And
I would not agree with that.
that's your opinion.
I would
and
not agree with that.
Your Honor, if I could
what I'm
just-
saying, Your Honor.
Coming up,
It's an expensive education, I realize that. But
You don't have to tell me about the cost of education.
I know, and-
I got grandkids now.
well,
Elementary school, 50 each.
This is Mathis Court with Judge Mathis.
Mathis Court is back with the case of Rebecca Holloway, who is suing Elliot Rowan for breach of contract.
Let him finish.
So the other side of this is also that there's a very specific contract that is signed. And the contract is signed to ensure that we have the tuition funds to deliver the education year to year. And we did offer Matthew, his parents actually, a $15,000 scholarship toward the 25, and it's an expensive education, I realize that. But
You don't have to tell me about the cost of education.
I know, and-
I got grandkids now.
well,
Elementary school, 50 each.
oh yeah.
Go ahead.
So the idea is that when Matthew was taken from the school at his parents' discretion, which is their right, obviously, it had a contract behind it that they signed and vetted, and I have an example of it here if you care to look
Yes,
at
let
it.
me see the contract, please, Amir. And ma'am, I hope you're not asking for them to refund your money.
No, not all of it, of course, Your Honor.
What portion are you asking for a refund?
I am just asking for a refund for the portion of time that he was not enrolled at school. I paid up front what I owed because I had so much faith and trust in the school.
Show me something that says they misrepresented.
How will Judge Mathis rule? Find out when Mathis Court returns.
This is Mathis Court with Judge Mathis.
Tell me what they misrepresented to you that caused them to breach the contract. Otherwise, you're bound by this.
Yes, Your Honor.
What breach? And it has to be significant.
Well, he speaks about transparency, and I took advantage of all of the information that was offered. I toured the school, I read all of the materials that were provided to me, and based upon that, I was given to understand that this was a values-based...
Give me some specific breach of that they committed, ma'am, against the contract.
Because there was no evidence in any of those materials of any rituals or practices in the classroom, anything like this.
And,
If I had known...
and I'm concluding they weren't rituals or anything of that nature. So if that's your only assertion, I'm going to dismiss your claim. I don't believe they were demonic worshiping. Have a good day. Claim is dismissed.
All rise.
Judge Mathis has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
I'm just going to pray for you. That's all.
And I appreciate that. And I'm sorry that we cannot have Matthew with us at the academy where he seemed to be doing so well.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.